and welcome to the Moffitt Method Podcast, where we dive deep into the world of strength and conditioning and pushing the limits of athletic performance with your host, Joe Ryan. Each week, we'll explore the strategies, tactics, and innovations that make athletes stronger, coaches smarter, and the sports we love even more thrilling. Whether you're a coach, an athlete, or just a fan of the game, we've got something for you. We'll be talking to some of the brightest minds in the industry, sharing their insights and experiences, and uncovering the methods behind the madness of high-performance sports. So tune in, turn up the volume, and let's get ready to learn, grow, and be inspired. This is the Moffitt Method Podcast.
Welcome to the Moffitt Method Podcast. I'm your host, Joe Ryan, and if you're serious about taking your team to the next level, you're in the right place. Each episode, I'll bring you into the huddle with some of the most respected coaches and leaders I've met throughout my career, sharing their stories, their strategies, and the knowledge bombs you can use to build a winning program. Before we get to work, if you're a first-time listener, please take a moment to hit that subscribe button and leave us a review. It really helps us bring more great guests to you. Now, let's get to it. Today, we have the husband and wife tandem, Maddie and Hunter Harrelson, who are both dedicated professionals in the field of strength and conditioning, currently serving student athletes in Oklahoma. Maddie, a native of Washington, Iowa, is the coordinator of strength and conditioning for all athletic teams at Owasso High School. She is entering her 6th year at Owasso and her 9th year in the profession. Her career includes experience at Quincy University, Lindenwood University, and Mississippi State University. Hunter serves as the director of strength and conditioning at Collinsville High School, where he oversees all athletic teams from 7th to 12th grade. He has prior experience working at Lindenwood University and Clemson University. Both Maddie and Hunter attended Lindenwood University, where they each earned a Bachelor of Science in Exercise Science and a Master's in Human Performance. While at Lindenwood, Maddie was a member of the softball team, and Hunter was a 5-year starter in the wrestling team. The couple lives in Osceola with their daughter, Jackie, and 2 dogs. Welcome in, guys. How are y'all doing tonight?
Doing good. How you doing?
You know, started the school year just like y'all, right?
Yeah.
Rolling.
Yeah. It's a constant uphill battle of lack of sleep and, you know, having fun trying to keep up with these 15 to 18-year-old kids, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
Thanks
man.
for having us.
Absolutely. You know, I can't, you know, y'all are in a unique position, right? Like not very often do you see a husband and wife in the same profession, much less this profession. You know, it's tough to kind of, you might see them coaching, but as specific strength and conditioning coaches, you know, it's very, very rare to see. And when we first kind of started this revamp of this podcast, you know, y'all are one of the first 2 I thought of that, like, all right, we got to get them on. We got to hear the story. We got to see how they make this work because, you know, if you're at the same school, that's one thing. But being at 2 different schools with the demanding schedule that we all have, it's like, all right, we got to know how they do it because if they can do it, you know, one person just in this profession, whether it's husband or wife, you know, they should be able to knock it out the park. So, you know, it's definitely something we wanted to make happen.
Thank you.
Absolutely. So, you know, school year starting, how was summer? How was, you know, you're there all the time, I'd imagine, just like everyone else. Summer was good. Y'all started school this past week or the week before?
Yep. This past week is when our first official week started. We had like kind of like a half week before, but that was kind of just like introduction to what the school year is going to look like and everything. But this last week was like our first full week of actual training for the kids.
So is Oklahoma, I know like here in Louisiana, we have our PD days and then sports have to do acclimation periods and things like that. I'm assuming Oklahoma's the same way.
Yeah.
So both are y'all schools in the same district or different districts or different classifications?
No, so my school is like basically 10 minutes north of her school, and Owasso is about 15 to 20 minutes away from Tulsa geographically. So, and we live like directly right in the middle. So she splits half the drive to her work. I split half the drive. So it's really not that bad for us location wise, which is pretty convenient because you know how crazy strength and conditioning schedules can be. You know, you have to run up to the weight room last minute or whatever. So it's pretty nice to be able just to have a little 10 minute drive to get to work real quick.
I envy y'all with that drive. Me and my wife did it kind of opposite. We live halfway between our families.
Okay.
So her family is 18 miles away and my family's 20 miles away. Well, I live in the town that I work in the town my family lives in. Mm-hmm. Well, if I forget something at work, there's no turning, or at home, there's no turning back when I get to work. There's no going home on your lunch break. There's no like, I'm
Yeah.
there. When I'm there, I'm there. And I get
Yeah.
there
Right.
early, and just like y'all, you leave late. So that's awesome. The school year's starting great. I know that could be a hectic time for everyone just because, you never know what you're going to get. You never know what the school year's going to bring. Luckily, in our profession, we get to see those kids all summer long. So there's no icebreakers. There's no,
No,
getting
no.
to know the kids. If they're in a good mood or bad mood the second they walk in the door the first day of school.
100%.
Right.
So, I know we went through some woes down here. We had a different school schedule this year, and we went from a rotating A-B block to we added in a C days. Those first 2 weeks, the kids' heads were spinning like, all right, we have 45 minutes. We got 5 minutes to dress out. We got 10 minutes to dress in and shower. We got, 25 minutes to get our work in. So it's like, boom, boom, boom. They're hitting everything.
Right.
So, like I was saying, we'll get into some questions here. Not often do you see husband and wife in the same profession, especially this one. How did this happen? I mean, obviously you went to the same university, did you meet? Did one of y'all talk the other one to go into this? Did you just, hey, we're in the same class and then go from there? I mean, I got to know how this worked out.
Yeah. So we both went to Lindenwood, and Lindenwood does this. They try to make it really cool, right? Where you're supposed to go and you meet people, and basically it's this whole week long of like awkward social events where you're supposed to go and hang out with all these people you don't know, right? And so one of them was this bonfire that we went to. It was like a Thursday night, and so we're all freshmen hanging out at this freshman bonfire, and I had three other roommates was like our setup in like our freshman year dorms, and Hunter just had one roommate. He was in a different dorm, and we went to this bonfire and ended up sitting next to him, and we're like, okay, these guys are pretty cool. So we're talking to them, whatever. He kind of had the hots for my roommate.
Oh,
So yeah,
I know. No,
that's
that
how it all
is.
started. We didn't talk at all. So that was freshman year. We didn't talk at all until junior year when that said roommate that he had the hots for was actually dating a wrestler. And my family's a big wrestling family. And so she came up to me and was like, I don't know anything about wrestling. Can you go with me to this duel and tell me what's going on? And I was like, yeah, absolutely. Come on. And so I went, and then I said something, and I was like, oh, like, so what do you think about Hunter? Just kind of take it at her, like, what does Colton, her boyfriend, think about him? And she's like, oh yeah, like, I don't know. And then all of a sudden Colton spills it to Hunter. Hunter's texting me, and it ends from there.
Love it kind of first sight, I guess,
Yeah. Something like that.
So it's crazy. Sport ended up bringing you together, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so like we were both in athletics, and so we were obviously like heavily in strength and conditioning in college and stuff. Ending our senior years, I actually picked up a book out of one of her bookshelves, and it was CEO Strength Coach by Ron McKeefery. And like I had been going down the exercise science, degree route and everything. And I was getting up to my last semester, my senior year. I had no idea what I was going to do. And basically I read the book, and like strength and conditioning was exactly what I wanted to do. Her route, she originally wanted to be a softball coach. So
Mhm.
that was kind of like her dream job. And, one thing ended up happening to another. She went to Quincy University and was a GA for a while. And she was actually training the softball team like in the weight room also. And so her love for strength conditioning kind of bloomed. And then we ended up both getting GA positions, long story short, at Lindenwood. So that's kind of how we both got into the profession. Neither one of us really talked each other into it. It just kind of naturally, organically happened. So
Like divine intervention right there.
Yeah.
yeah.
Like it was what was supposed to happen happened. So, wrestling's not real big down here in Louisiana. We don't really, it's getting big enough to the point that girls just got sanctioned last year. They did a trial the year before, and last year was the first full-time sanctioning of it. So it's getting bigger, but it's not nowhere near as big up where y'all are from that it's a big time thing, which is funny because like Daniel Cormier is from Louisiana, and
Really?
he went and wrestled at Oklahoma State. Dustin Poirier, they went to the same high school out here. It's 10 years apart, but they both wrestled. And it's crazy to say it's not a big thing, but you've kind of had a few big names come out of here in that
Right.
world. So that's awesome that, it kind of happened that way. It's not your traditional, I don't know, kid, things these days. We're all around the same age, the Tinder, the Snapchat, the stuff like that. It's not your traditional thing that happened. It was organic. It happened the way it was supposed to happen, is the way the way
Right.
they wanted it to happen. That's awesome. You both fell in love with strength and conditioning at Lindenwood. What division is Lindenwood? Isn't there a few Lindenwoods? Am I mistaken on that? That there's like a Division II Lindenwood.
Yeah.
Okay,
So they had like two campuses. One was like kind of NAIA. One of them was Division II. At least when we were
When
there,
we were there,
when we were
yeah.
there, we were at the Division II school, and it was kind of a unique position because I mean we had a huge staff. I mean there was
Yeah.
what, like 35 teams or something that was training
Mhm.
there. So pretty big athletic school altogether, like club sports and NCAA Division II. But now they transferred or transitioned to a Division I school. So
okay.
they're kind of taking their licks a little bit and transitioning to Division I. But yeah, it's kind of crazy to see them grow a little bit.
Yeah. The
Yeah,
GA
yeah.
position there was really cool.
Oh, it was awesome.
The staff had, like you were saying, this big staff. Our full-time staff had 5 people, and then we had 6 GAs. And so
Jeez.
GAs were given teams. So Hunter and I both had 5 teams that we ran as GAs. Like
Yeah.
first year GA, and they just hand you these teams and you roll with them. There's nobody looking over your shoulder. Like you get assigned a mentor that helps you, but it's not like you turn a program in and they check it kind of thing. Like you're rolling, you're coaching.
Right. It's your baby. And
Yeah.
it's crazy how so I played D2 football
Yeah.
at Arkansas Monticello, and then I GA'd there. And it's crazy how the worlds are different because I did not get that. It was, all right, here's the red shirts. Oh, by the way, you got to do film duty for football. You got to do this study hall. You got to do that. It's crazy how the world of D2 is drastically different depending on where you're at.
Yeah,
for sure.
Because I know, those guys that I GA'd because we didn't have a lot. I think there was 3 of us. And that was like, yeah, you did strength and conditioning, but here's your football responsibilities too. And it was just like, good luck, figure it out, like kind of thing. So that's awesome to see and awesome to, kind of experience that GA life. I know that being able to get away for both of y'all and come back, that's I guess if I had to say I made a mistake, it was the year after I got done playing, it was GA. So I was kind of just, hey, here's this player still type of thing. So that's awesome. So, we kind of touched on, y'all are at 2 different schools. You're here, you're there, you're about 8 miles away from your schools. What's that like? There's a demand of coaching, there's a demand of home, you have a child, you got dogs. How do you balance all that out?
Yeah, we're pretty fortunate with our positions dynamics. So with my position, it's very similar to yours, where we have our athletic periods built into our school day, and then we do strength and conditioning throughout the day as well. So I don't really have that before school schedule, after school schedule. And then Maddie's is actually the complete opposite. It's everything's before school and after school. And in the middle, she has a lot of, I call it free time. She would call it office time, but she's the backbone for, hey, we need to get, check on our dogs in the middle of the day. We need to, do XYZ, errand or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's been very, very fortunate for us that we're able to, have such a cohesive schedule. I think communication between us has to be like way, way up here. I mean,
Right.
with how busy and how things can change so fast in high school athletics, communication is crazy. So, I mean, our calendars are synced and everything. So I think that's one strength that we have as a couple is we're able to communicate a lot of the important details day to day. So
Yeah, you think your calendars are synced now. Wait till your kids start doing more. For the first time in my life,
I
I
can't
can't even
even
think about
imagine.
it. We have to
Yeah.
go week by week. We can't even think about the future.
first time in my life I had to like create stuff on a calendar and share with family. I'm like, I've never had to do this. And at 35 years old, here we are. I'm like,
Yeah.
Here we are
Yeah.
rolling with it.
Tuesdays are about to be ridiculous in our house. We got
No.
JV football night. My oldest made the middle school volleyball team.
Let's
My
go.
youngest is in flag football. So it's just like everything falls on that night.
Yes.
So it's like, luckily I work for a head coach that, hey, you can leave practice a little bit early or whatever it is, go to her game, be back for the JV game that doesn't start till 7 at night. So, but no, that's awesome. It's a little yin and yang thing going on. Maddie can kind of handle, what needs to be handled throughout the day. And then, but she's the one that's got to kind of be before and after, which there's positives and negatives to both of those
100%.
schedules,
Yeah.
right?
There's
I mean,
a lot of those
yeah, like,
schedules, but
you
it
know,
works
'cause-
for us. So
right. Yeah, I used to have to, before we got all of our athletic hours, it was, before school, after school. And then even some of our multi-sport kids, they, while they're in an in-season workout, they hate to, I guess, say miss out. So like, as an example, like we're big powerlifting in Louisiana rather than wrestling. It's a big powerlifting state. So we have kids who will like either come in early or stay late just to kind of like get their deadlift workout for the week or whatever it is, like not necessarily as our volleyball team deadlifting super heavy in season. So, some of those girls will come get their deadlift in before or after school and things like that,
That's awesome.
Yeah,
So
that's
I
awesome.
get the, before, after, it's all kind of mixed conglomerate of it all. So, obviously you've been in this profession for multiple years. Y'all been at all different facets. You've been at major D1 schools, with Clemson and Mississippi State. You've been at some smaller universities. You've experienced both sides of it. You're at the high school level now. Looking back on, let's just call it the past 10 years, right? Is there a piece of advice like where you are now that you wish you'd have given yourself back then that's like maybe either to advance where you are now or a mistake you might have made? Because we all make mistakes. I mean, it's human nature. There's only one perfect person to ever walk this earth, and it's not any of us, right? So,
Mhm.
we all make those. Is there a piece of advice like, hey, I wish I'd have been able to tell my 21, 22-year-old self this?
Yeah. Mine's pretty easy. Like to think back and I look at it and I remember sitting in that GA office at Lindenwood and like before that at Quincy University when I was like true first year coach. I spent so much time like just analyzing program after program. Like it was just paralysis by analysis, trying to figure out what the best thing is and what do I do and how do I coach it and all of these different things. And I think it frazzled me so much that it hindered my ability on the floor because I was second guessing myself. And I think that like, if I were to go back and talk to myself about it, I would just say, like, go with your gut and focus way more on building the relationships with the kids. And whatever you're gonna go with programming wise, full send it. Go for it and have all the confidence in the world because it'll work if you believe in it. Like that's
Right.
the biggest thing. There's no perfect program. And if I were to go back, like that's what I would say. It's just go with your gut and focus way more on the relationships than on the programming.
Yeah, and like Coach Moffitt says, you touched on something, and he says it all the time. The best experience for coaching is that floor time. Getting that floor time is the only way you're going to
Mhm.
learn. Like I see some of these interns I get from Southeastern, and they want to stand in the corner at the beginning, and there's just like, like what? It's okay to uncross your arms. Even
Yeah.
if you say something wrong, these kids believe it. You're not going to say everything perfect. Not everything is going to be, by the book.
Right.
Not, the book's great. It is, but doesn't prepare you for being coach, psychologist,
Mhm.
sometimes mom and dad figure. It doesn't prepare you for any of that. So, seeing some of that and giving that advice is, oh, look, there's one of them dogs right there. We hear it.
Kids, man,
Yeah,
kids.
I know. Hunter, what about you, man?
So, looking back, I felt like I spent so much time on the X's and O's and trying to learn this program, that program. I was so strength and conditioning focused. And with obviously as a young strength coach, that's important. You need to learn the X's and O's. But I spent so much time in the strength coach office. I didn't spend enough time in the sport coach's office. We have some really, really intelligent sport coaches out there, a lot of years of experience. I think I didn't spend enough time learning from them basically and seeing what they've done in the past and what they feel like is a great direction for their program. And I mean, I'd have initial conversations with the coaches, but it didn't seem like it went past the initial stage, if that makes any sense.
No.
Especially at Lindenwood when we had so many teams, it seemed like it was always going to be a chore to make my way up to the office and everything. It was much more comfortable staying in the weight rooms.
Yeah,
If I could go back that way, but that's 100% what I would do.
that makes perfect sense because, in our world, it's those people are your boss. Like you go from, let's just say you're a sport coach, you're an assistant softball coach or assistant wrestling or whatever it is, you have one boss. Well, in our world, we have 14, 15 bosses that we
Mhm.
answer to that, they want to know the whys and the, you know, wins and wheres. And, and I agree with that, man. I wish I try and talk to these days, at doing this for, almost 13 years now. I try and talk to our sport coaches every day and bounce ideas and get advice. Because even at being in this for as long as each of us have, I still have self-doubt someday. It's like, man, was that good? Was that bad? How are
Yeah.
the kids receptive to it? Are the coaches receptive to it? Are they buying into it? And it's just, I 100% feel that one to my core of like talking to those sport coaches more like, what can we do to help each other out? What can we do to
Yeah.
get better? So no, that's a big one, especially for these young coaches listening, and I say that we're all still pretty I like to think I'm still 22 years old. I don't feel,
Mhm.
Yeah.
this is the first year in my life. And I know people are going to listen to this and say, this guy's still young. Like, this is the first year of my life where I feel physically a year older. Like the beginning of summer this year, I just would come home and just be a whipped dog. I'd be like, oh my goodness. Like, what happened? Like last year I was fine. This year I'm like, I can't even function anymore. Like I'm ready to go to sleep at 2:00. And so like, yeah, definitely it's, that kind of hits you hard, I guess. I guess I'm closer to 40 than I am 30. You kind of touched on it a little bit, Maddie, like kind of being at these schools and, getting 4 time and, talking to different coaches, when y'all get home, you know, programming wise, like do y'all bounce ideas off each other about your athletes? I know not every kid's the same at every school. Some schools are more blessed than others with the athletes they have, and some aren't quite as blessed, or the issues that may arise, making the job easier. Do you go through similar things? That's one of my favorite things I love to do is, it's June 15th. I can call a coach that's 150 miles away. Your kid's going through the same thing my kids are going through right now, but y'all have that to your disposal every night when you go home. So is that something that y'all do? Y'all kind of bounce ideas and programming and
Nonstop.
all the time.
nonstop?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
It's
love that.
it's so
Y'all's
hard not to, when you get home and you're like, "How's your day?" And you're talking about, you immediately go into the X's and O's and, "Hey, how was that program you wrote, like, that I looked over for you?" Or this or that, or "How'd that competition go?" And, like, it's constant. It's like we're coworkers, you know what I mean? Like, I know what's going on at Collinsville. He knows what's going on at Owasso with our teams. So we use that a lot to our advantage, which helps.
y'all's kitchen table has to have a ton of like Excel sheets and stuff.
Huh. His Excel sheets that I steal.
Yeah. They're definitely mine. They're definitely not hers.
I
Our
am
program sheets look very similar. I don't know
yeah,
what
I'm
happened.
still a, write it down, transfer it guy.
Yeah.
I can't get away from it. I can't, I'll find sheets and like binders from like a kid that graduated 3 years ago when they were in 6th grade. And I'm like, I need to keep this just in case they need this when they have
Yeah.
their own. It's like, that doesn't ever, like I got stuff from kids in my first year coaching that, are 30 years old now. And it's just like, what am I still doing with this? Like, so bringing some, in y'all's case, I guess, as much as you don't want to bring work home, you end up bringing work in a sense home because it's y'all's lives down to your core, that it's everything y'all do is that.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. It's fun to see that, and kind of, my wife's a nurse, so it's like, I mean, I appreciate the stuff, but what do I know about nursing?
Right. Yeah.
What does she know about strength and conditioning? Luckily, she's a volunteer powerlifting coach for me, more of our mom figure. So that's the extent of I don't know if we could do it. Y'all are definitely strong. I don't know if we could be in the same profession and make it through.
Yeah. It helps that we're pretty different. We coach really differently. You know what I mean? Program,
Yeah.
like like stones are very similar, like regarding programming, but our style is really different. And so
Right.
that's where it really works for us to kind of pick each other's brains, because the foundation is the same, but the way that we're going to get there is
Totally
totally different path. Yeah. So it's cool to be able to like have a different view right at home.
Right. Which is awesome to see. So, talking about that, is there an option one day that maybe we might work together? Could you make it work? Could you,
Yeah, I mean, maybe someday. We did it at Lindenwood, and it worked. It was good. I definitely feel like our marriage is stronger right now than obviously back in the day. But it's definitely a challenge that you would have to continuously battle, especially if we're going to be in the same office. I think we take work home enough as it is right now, but we'll see. We'll see what the future has to hold.
Yeah.
So if y'all had to start, let's just say you're at a new school, you're starting a program, and you get autonomy to build a weight room. You're doing the programming for the first year. Who's doing what? Who's designing? Who's designing the program? Who's designing the weight room?
We kind of thought about this one a little bit, and I think that just because I had the opportunity to build the new weight room, that's
Mhm.
probably gonna be me, just because I have a little more experience with that realm. Like she said, our programming styles are very similar. Yeah,
Roll with
she can
programming
roll
Yeah.
the
for sure.
programs. I'll just
Right.
coach.
So Hunter, you're jumping right into whatever needs to be done. Dude, I just got done designing a weight room. There's so many more details than what
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it's
That's
just,
why I'm like, you can go ahead. You go,
yeah,
you go
the
ahead.
the little stuff that nobody thinks about, like
Yeah.
the end cap of bars. What do you want on it? I
Yep.
mean, this is what we're kind of talking about and getting at, like the end cap of bars. Like, I don't
Yes.
know, put your logo, put your company's logo. I don't care, so all that stuff, I don't know if I would do it again. I mean, I would, but I don't know if it's been a headache. It's been almost a year we've been doing ours. And it's like,
Yeah.
at this point, we're just nervous. Like, hopefully it comes in on time.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
When's yours supposed to be done?
I'm still in shock I'm still kind of in shock the building's there. I mean, they say like end of October, beginning of November, but like
Okay.
at that point, we told the companies like we're moving in over Christmas break. Like there's no, we make the playoffs. Okay. We get it for 5 weeks, maybe. Like at that point, it's kind of like, do we need to do it? But it's going to be big, 5,000 square feet. Yeah. I'd put as much as I possibly could in there. Like
Heck yeah.
stuff we probably didn't need, but you know what? Why not? You get
Yeah.
one shot at those things.
How big's your space right now compared to the space you will get?
Actual working space, the room we have is about 2,700 square feet, but about 800 or 900 of those is dead space. You basically, I don't want to call it storage, but like all of our GHDs are over there. So that's
Mhm.
really all, med balls. We don't have a rack. We just kind of got them stacked up,
Yeah.
foam rollers, wrist wrap, box, stuff like that's all over there. So it's kind of dead space. So actual working space, we're under 2,000 square feet. And there's some days where I'll have like my last class of the day is pretty chaotic. It's an hour and a half class on normal days. And I have volleyball, softball, girls track, boys basketball, and freshman baseball.
How many kids total is that?
About 115
Yeah.
on 16 racks. So what I do is, and it does work out because like volleyball's in season right now. So like on days they don't play, it's about a 25-minute workout.
Mhm.
On days they play, we come in and just get a little primer in. It's maybe 10 to 15 minutes. Nothing crazy. Softball's obviously out of season and track's way out of season right now. But I kind of keep them on that, 45 to 55-minute schedule. And then basketball, boys track, and baseball come in. Now, luckily, when baseball like kind of gets into it and their fall ball stuff, they're going to start working out after school with their coach. I'm just going to program for them and their athletic hours when they're kind of going to get their hitting and throwing and all that in. So it's going to end up working out, but beggars can't be choosers. Everybody's in athletic hour,
Yeah.
so it's it gets chaotic at times, but I love it. There's
It's the best.
it's always keeping you on your toes, and there's something new that happens every day there. So that's my most chaotic hour. The only one behind that would be I have a girls swim, girls powerlifting, girls soccer hour,
Okay.
which are three totally, y'all know that
Yeah.
there's three totally different ends of the spectrum right there, that
Mhm.
Yeah.
those three sports. So that one gets there's about in total, probably about 68, I think, girls in there. So we're the biggest population school in the state of Louisiana. We got about 2,700 kids.
Okay.
So it's about 680 athletes on campus. So every 2 days I see, minus soccer and tennis, I see that. So, but yeah, that's how, I guess the question was, how big's the current one? That's kind of it. We got 16 racks, not a huge space, but we make it work. There's things I'm limited to, and I'm not going to know what to do when we get in the new one. Like I'm going to have to change the way I program, because like right now it's like, okay, kids can't be on the ground while kids are doing this, or kids got to be outside while kids are doing that. I'm going to have to change everything I do.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, when I went, I have similar kind of spaces from where you are now to where you will be. I found having more space, kids want to roam. So as much as you can get them confined in one spot, I mean, that's where the money is. I'm telling you, it's almost like, yeah, we have 16 racks, but it's big old wide open space. But I jam pack them all on one side, so I keep my eyes on. High school kids, they just want to roam around and find excuses.
Right.
So
Well, the way I did it, right? The way we designed the room, obviously it's just a rectangle. It's 5,000 square feet. And basically what I did with the equipment was I split the room in half. So
Yeah.
this half of the room and this half of the room have the same exact machines.
Yep.
okay, yeah,
And I literally packed as much as I could into each rack to
Mhm.
where they don't have to leave. Hopefully. I mean, like
yeah,
I got as many TVs. I put 6. They asked me like, how big of TVs do you need in there? Well, big enough for us to see.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, how's 80 inches? I'm like, yeah, man, that's great. Like 6 80-inch TVs is going to be plenty in
Yeah.
that room. Like, so hopefully they don't have to wander off too much, but just like you said, like they're going to be in the wrong spot.
Find 'em.
But
Someone's getting water at some point.
Yeah. And it's just like, that is one thing that like, I hopes that put a water fountain in the room. Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
because right now our water fountain's like 50 yards away. Like you
Oh,
gotta get
yeah.
like, it's a little track. So it's like, all right, bring a water jug. And
Yeah.
every day somebody's water jug gets spilled in the room. And it's like, it's just water. Like I can't be mad about that.
Yeah.
So, we've talked a lot about work. We've talked about a little bit about program. We talk about different things. Like, do y'all even have time for hobbies?
We're making time.
Yeah,
We're
we're
getting
making
better
time.
at it. We talk a lot about trying to get better at our hobbies, but we do. We're pretty involved with our church. I
Okay.
would say that's our biggest hobby. We do stuff on Wednesday nights with church. We actually just this summer started a training session basically on Sunday mornings and Sunday nights for our small group at church. Just offer for people to come work out. We'll have a workout on the board and just walk them through it. So it's kind of fun piecing our two loves together. But church, I would say, is our number one hobby of
Mhm.
being able to have a different connection outside of work that we really feed into each other on, and just a bigger purpose.
That's awesome. I mean, I didn't honestly didn't expect that. That's a great, I
Yeah.
mean, just a great way to bring the two in together that,
Mhm.
little faith, little lifting and just
Yeah.
getting more people involved. I mean, it's definitely way better than my hobby. Mine is college football 26.
Hey,
I mean,
football means we think more about programming. We got
yeah.
other things.
Yeah, like I'm trying to, win a national championship and
Yeah.
y'all are definitely shaming me here. I'm trying to get Arkansas State to win a national championship. And, it's, man, that's a great hobby. I know like, very little time for so y'all, I mean, obviously y'all work out together, I'd imagine.
Yeah.
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 I mean, that's a big, sometimes. Yeah. That's a big, it's a big thing. Like, do y'all have access to your schools or y'all got weights at home or,
Yeah. We tend to just go to our own weight
Sure.
rooms. She likes to go to mine because she hates going to work. So I'm just like, all right. So, yeah, she wants a little bit of change of scenery. I'm like, hey, I just built my new weight room. It's everything that I want in there, so might as well go to mine. So
Yeah, see, when I get to have mine, that's how I'm gonna be. Right now, I'm like, I got a rack at home. I'll just stay here and do that.
Right.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't want to be a more. I had a kid, and I don't know if the kid, just talking about this, I don't know if the kid thought he hurt my feelings, but I was kind of, I was at. I don't really go past the cafeteria at our
Yeah.
school. Like I'm in the back, like. And had a freshman kid, and they're like, "Coach, like I've never seen you outside the weight room. I didn't even know like that you came up here." And I'm like, "You think I'm upset, but really, that's a compliment." They're like,
Yeah.
"I thought you lived in there." Like, yeah, I appreciate that. Thanks.
Yeah.
So just like
Our
y'all,
our weight room's like in a completely different building than our school, and since our teams and stuff are like before and after school, I don't even hardly ever go into the school.
me
Like
neither. Yeah.
our church actually is getting like renovated, and so our service is being held at our high school.
Mhm.
And so there are different like hallways and stuff we walk through, and people are like, "Oh, you know where this is?" And I'm like, "Never been in here." And they're like, "Don't you work here?" I'm like, "Yeah,
Yeah.
over there in the weight room is where I work." So
Yeah. Ever since, same with me. Like ever since I got full time in the back where I'm no longer like, but there was a few years where it was like half and half. I got to be in the classroom some, and they slowly transitioned me out. These days, unless I really need to go get something, I don't go past the cafeteria. I got duty twice a week,
yeah,
lunch. I don't go past the cafeteria if I don't have to.
right. I love it.
So, obviously our work and life balance is a lot. It's nonstop of in a habit at work, in a routine, this is how it has to be because we're all trying to get our athletes better. We're not just as athletes, like we're all on the same page that we try to holistically build these kids. They're not just athletes, they're students, they're young men and women, because college athletics, let's face it, the fact that we even have 3 people on this call that were blessed enough to play college athletics is a very, very low percentage.
Yeah.
So they're not, not all of them are going out to play. Obviously you have some non-negotiables or habits at work. Do any of those carry over to your house? Like, one thing that I started doing the more I got into this world and strength and conditioning and all that is like, it's a habit that I make the bed the same way every day. And I leave at the same time every day. And I stop at the same place. I have little habits that I pick up because that's what it is at work. if we're not building it and, living the way we preach, how are these kids going to buy into it? So is there anything that y'all carry over from work to home life that, are habits that you built?
Yeah. I mean, for me, it's always picking the hardest thing to do at the first thing in the morning, whether that's working out, making sure that everything is prepped for the day, just any sort of hard task that I feel like is going to impede my normal routine. I always make sure that I attack that head on first in the day. I feel like it's basically my most productive part of the day is in the morning. So by being able to, attack that challenging, aspect right from the beginning, it's kind of something I've taken from being a GA all the way through to where I am now. I feel like it's definitely helped me out mentally anyways.
Yeah. I would say, like our nighttime schedule has to be like spot on. Just from putting Jackie to bed, to us going to bed. Like the other day we hung out with friends and it was 8:30 p.m. and we're like, holy crap, this feels like the
Yeah.
middle of the night to us, because we truly like put sleep as a priority. And we wake up early on the weekends. Our sleep schedule doesn't really change. We go to bed between 8 and 9 p.m. most nights, and we wake up between 4 and 5, 5:30 maybe on most mornings.
I'm
And
sure
so
y'all are like
that's
me and
pretty.
kind of look back on that and you're like, what happened to me?
Yeah,
Like, what,
yes,
what
yeah. You
happened
think
to
about
me?
it, and
Like
you're
I
like, but now
ate or
if you get out of that sleep schedule, like Jackie's messed up, we're messed up, you know what I mean? And we preach it to the kids. I feel like the athletes nonstop, right? Thinking about sleep. Like when Hunter's talking about getting stuff done in the morning, like if we don't have our meals prepped for the week, our nutrition's gonna be like we're gonna
Yeah.
choose and like the most convenient and unhealthy option because it's what we have to do with the busy schedule. And
or
that's
even
just
if you
not
get to, it's
right. Or you don't
you might
eat.
just be
Yeah.
like, yeah, I guess I just won't eat today.
Right.
Yeah.
And then you
Exactly.
are starving at the end of the day, cranky, and then who knows what happens, So I think like the things that we preach to our kids, like if we don't focus on sleep and nutrition, it all goes out the window.
And
I
that's good
think
for, for them to hear. Like you're
Yeah.
living the same routines. You're trying to do the same thing. You're not just blowing smoke. You literally live this life.
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got to make sure that our health's at a premium. 'Cause, I mean, you know how it is. I mean, we work some long hours. We live unhealthy lives. I mean, that's just going to negatively impact not only us but also our performance with our kids. We have to put it as like the most highest tier thing
Yeah.
that we do.
Yeah. 'Cause I like what you said too, Hunter, doing the hardest thing first. I know this is something little, but like it's things like for me, like if I'm setting out cones on the field, I always do the farthest one first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's just like it's something so small, but it's just at the end of it, I would rather set a cone 5 yards away and then have to go 100 yards away to set, so I always, no matter what it is, like I do the farthest thing away first and then make my way back and like when my little one comes to work with me, like it's the same thing. Like if we're setting out trap bars outside, well, we set the trap bar
All
the
the way down.
farthest away,
Yeah.
farthest we can, and then we work our way back. So that goes a long way in life is doing the hard things
Yeah.
first. Well, y'all have, we've heard a lot actually, but is there any story that y'all have that y'all can tell on here that's a good strength story, whether it involves y'all, whether it involves not necessarily a kid, but just something funny or something serious or something that impacted you drastically that's a good story for listeners?
Yeah, I kind of have two stories. One's funny and one's like freaking awesome.
Mhm.
Like I was a proud strength coach in that moment. I'll,
Yeah.
I'll start I'll start with the funny one. So Collinsville is notorious for facilities being behind the times. We have old weight room, and hey, I love my old weight room. I took my football kids back in the old weight room because they weren't working very hard. I'm like, you guys don't deserve all this new stuff, so we're going to be in the old weight room. But whoever
Man, that's a good
designed,
idea. I'm gonna have
yeah,
to keep
yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah,
Yes.
yes, it
Keep
is.
that.
Keep that
Keep
one.
that.
It was freaking awesome. We had a great summer. They worked their tails off in there. So in whoever designed my old weight room, they're a genius. Put the light switches in the middle of the facility. I mean, you're having to walk through darkness and like dodge barbells and everything just to get to the light switch. Well, it's an early spring morning, and I flip the lights on, and we have ceiling fans that are hung up all over in our weight room. And I turned the ceiling fans on because it's pretty hot that morning. And all I hear is this boom, loud crash, and I have a fan that's on top of like all this equipment in the weight room. I'm like, what in the heck is going on here? I was just like, we can't even have ceiling fans in this weight room. Thank God a kid wasn't in here because that
I
was
know.
flipping them out.
Yeah.
So that was the funny one. And then same weight room that we were in. We had a bad windstorm that came through. Oklahoma notorious for tornadoes and bad weather. It's in the spring and it knocks the power out. We had a huge windstorm. There's 0 lights in the entire weight room. Like I said, the light switch is in the middle. I mean, we can't find the light switch or anything. We're opening the doors. The kids are turning on their cell phone lights, and so we're in the middle of a lift when this windstorm comes. I can't remember if we were benching or squatting. We were doing one of them, but we ended up finishing the workout while the lights were out, and we just had cell phone lights and natural daylight. That was a pretty cool story that I think a lot of our kids can look back on and like, hey, we had no excuses that day. We got the work done. So that was a pretty cool moment as a strength coach
Yeah.
for me.
No, I love, we have during our spring ball, it's kind of similar, like just the kids getting the work done. Spring ball, fall ball.
Mm-hmm.
When we have PD meetings, our athletic trainer kind of stays back with them because they don't have to go to some of that stuff. And our kids know, like, they come in waves, like seniors, juniors, sophomores, and they get the workout done, and they're the leaders, and they're the ones that kind of make sure everybody's doing the right thing. And the seniors stay behind and have like high energy. Like, this is where we need to be. So kind of similar, like finishing it, making sure the job gets done. Like, okay, they're listening. They
Mhm.
understand. I'm proud of them. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a very, very cool. I don't know what I'd do if a fan fell though. That would,
I'm just thankful no kid was up there. That could have been a lawsuit or something.
yeah, like definitely don't want some of that stuff happening. So, Maddie, you got one for us?
Yeah, we're talking a lot about weather, right? Oklahoma seems to have crazy weather. And so this was actually pretty recently, like early in the summer. And we're having bad weather, tornadoes, all these different things. One thing, like Oklahoma does have bad weather, but there also are so many like crying wolf situations where it's like,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
gonna be bad weather, da da da, and nothing happens. right?
Especially with snow.
Yeah, snow, like they'll cancel for nothing. Like
Mhm.
I'm from north, so I'm like, we cancel for a dusting. You know what I mean? It's crazy.
Right.
So they're saying, okay, we're gonna have a tornado, yada yada yada. And I'm sitting here like I'm actually training boys basketball in the morning. And I'm talking to their coach and I'm like, oh, we're gonna have a tornado, yada yada. Like we're already in here training, like we're not gonna cancel anything. And I was gonna train golf and tennis after boys basketball. And they called me and they're like, hey, I think we're gonna cancel, like bad weather's coming in. And I was like, oh, great. Like we're gonna cancel and nothing's gonna happen, just like always. And so they send out a message, they're gonna cancel. And so I'm like, the weather actually starts getting bad. and in our weight room, like the doors where the lobby is, it's like barred down. The doors like fly open. So they started flying open. And so I barred them back down, like locked them. And
Mhm.
so the weather's getting bad. We're finishing the basketball lift. And I'm like, this tornado sirens start going. And I'm like, all right, y'all, like, I guess we got to go back in the locker room. That's what we're supposed to do. But I'm like, but hey, like, get your 10-pound plates. Like, we're going to go do a shoulder circuit in the locker room. And so they're all like, oh, seriously, coach, like, come on. And I'm going to get the plates. Like, we're going to finish the workout. And so we're running back there or whatever. I'm getting all the kids back there to get their plates. And I look out and I was like, no. And there's some kids like looking at the door and they're like, hey, because I locked them out. And it was the tennis kids, golf and tennis kids that got locked out, that they had canceled the workout, but they didn't get the notification. So they're all out there. And there's a legit tornado, like knocking down,
like an F1, F2, yeah.
yeah, like
Really?
easily knocking down
Yeah.
houses and stuff. And I've blocked out our kids out there, and I'm over here worried about getting 10-pound plates in the back, like in the locker room for our basketball kids. And I was like, come on, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I mean, no one can say you're not dedicated. At least,
Yeah.
No, I'm like,
I mean, thank God nothing happened, but
I know, I was like,
no one can say
sorry,
you're
I'm
not
sorry,
dedicated
like
to
a
your
parent on
job.
that one, like,
Yeah,
sorry.
that'd be a hard group me a reminder to send out.
Yeah, yeah. But
But yeah,
there's my egotistical strength coach. Like
yeah.
nothing's gonna happen. Like let's go work out.
Way to be cliche there, Maddie, with
I
what
know,
a strength coach
classic.
is, right?
He's right
We
into our
get the
stereotype.
we get the same stuff though here though with hurricanes. It's like,
Do you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
here we go. Like we're canceling school. We're doing this, and we did have snow this year though. It was 18 inches of snow. Like that was
How often does that happen for you guys?
never.
Yeah.
That's probably the only time it's ever going to happen in my, like, we were out of school for a week.
Really?
It wouldn't go away. Like, they kept saying like, oh yeah, it's going to snow. It's going to snow. It's going to be 10 inches and this and that. We're like, ain't no way. This is South Louisiana, like there's no way. Like you see alligators crossing the road. You don't see snow.
Yeah.
Sure enough. I mean, like it was legit real snow. And
That's
that's
crazy.
like, you kind of cry wolf there, like you said, but it happened, and like, but we get a lot of that with the hurricanes, like, oh, there's a tropical storm or there's this or there's that, it's like this year's the 20-year reunion of Hurricane Katrina.
Yeah.
Like I was in school when that happened. I remember like leaving football practice and we were out of school for 2 weeks because the Rita hit right after that. It was back-to-back hurricanes on the coast. And it was like, so I remember some of that stuff, those kids are going to remember locking out by coach, and the freaking tornadoes right down the road. So look, I got some fun questions for y'all, and really it's one specific. All right, this is a
I'm
big
ready.
one that, my plan is to ask a few people this, and one of the last ones we did, I got an answer that I truly didn't expect, but it was pretty unique. But let's say you're stranded on a deserted island, and you can bring one piece of weight equipment with you. What's that weight equipment going to be? Be anything. It can be from band to bar to, but it can't be a pair of something. So you can't say dumbbells.
Yeah. I'm going to go with a sledgehammer. Like,
Really?
yeah. Because I feel like I'm going to have to break some stuff down to be able to make like a fort or something. I mean, I don't know if I feel like
that's a great, I mean, like I did not expect you to say that. I think when I had this question in my mind and, Matt and I were talking about it, that's not an answer I expected. I expected traditional stuff. Yeah, absolutely. It'd be used in a weight room, right? I mean, absolutely. That's a great one.
I'm probably going to go with the sled.
Oh.
Whether that's to help carry stuff around the island, I don't know. Maybe get a workout in. Maybe I'm crazy. I don't know. But I'm gonna go with the sled. Yeah.
If we're together, we can knock stuff down, put it on the sled, carry it up,
drag it, carry it.
This is what I'm talking about.
That's a marriage question for sure.
Right. That's a marriage answer without a doubt. We'll be together. We'll have a sledgehammer and a sled, and we'll make sure we get things done.
We got it.
Man, y'all's is way better than mine. Mine was a trap bar. Just because
what are you going to do with the trap bar?
Well, you can just do so much stuff. I'm thinking in the workout aspect. Y'all are thinking in like, y'all totally blew.
Hey, we're on a stranded island. I'm surviving. It's survival.
Yeah, like y'all totally killed me on this. Like I'm thinking like, okay, I can jump with it. I can press it. I can carry it. I can row it. I can, curl it. I can do a bunch of stuff with a trap bar and it won't rust, and there's no need to spin.
Yeah.
The last time I asked this on the podcast, they said a battle rope. Why? Because I could take it apart.
That's a good one.
I'm like, man, so the past 3 people that have answered this for me is totally just killed me on this answer, and it's like, dang, I lost out on some prime opportunity there. So that's a good one. I'm glad we got that in and got that unique answers there. So look, I can't thank y'all enough for coming on. It's been a lot of fun. I know y'all took time out of y'all's day and evening and were able to get the kids down, including the dogs kind of, and come on here and enjoy a little fellowship and talk a little strength and conditioning and kind of life outside of strength and conditioning, because we all know that's what it's all about. Absolutely. So again, I can't thank y'all enough for coming on, and we look forward to this episode coming out.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having us.
Absolutely. Thank y'all. For our listeners, be sure to follow us on social media. That's Instagram, X, Facebook. We also have a blog that's posted through our Instagram. You can reach out to us at any point in time through our website and our email. Be sure to subscribe on Apple Podcast and on YouTube to our podcast, and make sure you stay strong. Thank y'all.
That's a wrap on another episode of the Moffitt Method Podcast. We hope you found today's discussion enlightening and empowering as you continue your journey in sports and strength and conditioning. Before you go, make sure to follow us on social media. We're on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, where we share more tips, behind-the-scenes content, and updates on upcoming episodes. Just search for Moffitt Method Podcast and hit that follow button. Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast on your favorite listening platform. That way, you'll never miss an episode. And if you enjoyed today's show, we'd love it if you could leave us a review or share this podcast with a friend. It really helps us out. Thanks for tuning in. And remember, the key to success is just one more workout away. Until next time, stay strong and stay inspired.